Good morning from Anfield on what is a very frosty day on Merseyside. This is our pre-match preview show in association with Standard Chartered. We are live across LFC's various social media platforms for the next 15 minutes or so. Phil Thompson and Mark Lawrenson are pitchside with me in front of the Cop, and there's plenty for them to chat about over the course of the show. We'll discuss whether Liverpool's midfield could be switched up for today's game, given the success of things down at Wolves. We'll focus on Jurgen Klopp's 1,000th game in management. We'll discuss Chelsea, the visitors to Anfield here today, and both the boys will try and second-guess Jurgen's starting 11. Well, let's start with things at Wolves, some encouraging signs. Has that given the managers some food for thought today?
Oh, most definitely. We had an energy about us which has, I think, been sadly lacking in some of the previous games, most certainly. And I thought we played well. We weathered a little bit of a storm. And I think in all departments, everybody did a decent job. So, yeah, I think he's had his thinking cap on.
Phil, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Today.
Closing in on another milestone next year. But
72.
Shut up, Mark. No, but listen, there was a lot of good things. There's been a lot of things missing from the side over the last few weeks. And I'm not saying it was all went right at Wolves, but you've seen a lot of it. Again, the energy was there. The high press was there, which was working, and for many weeks now it's not worked. So I think that was back. There was individual performances which were sort of energised other people, and you had people taking responsibility like Thiago to help the young lads who were in the side. So there was a lot of plus points beside it. And then the biggest for me, clean sheet. And I think it was so important that we got that, because it's been weeks, and that gives you a platform to be able to attack on.
We've been chasing games, haven't we? That's been the problem. And when you're not playing well, it's even worse.
one of the things that stood out was the way the midfield worked a bit better. He sort of shook things up in there. In terms of the options in there and what he could do today, well, people at different ends of their careers, you talk at someone like Stefan Bajcetic, you talk about a young player looking to find his feet. On the other end, you've got Naby Keita, an experienced player looking to kind of rediscover some form. What will he weigh up when he considers starting Bajcetic today?
The opposition, certainly, and the experience that the opposition have. But, I mean, hasn't Thiago got a relationship with Bajcetic because of Bajcetic's father and things? And I just thought he looked after him the other night, most definitely. I mean, you want experience. Naby Keita's had a load of games, and we've never really, I don't think we've ever really seen the best. I'd stick Bajcetic in today.
He's not started a Premier League game before, but he did start the Cup game away at Man City. So if the manager has faith in him to begin a game of that magnitude, surely he would believe he could throw him in today.
Yeah, it was a cup game, though, and I think he does like to change that up. I think that is the reason why I've not put him in today. And yes, there's some games. It was a difficult one for me to choose. But you look at the opposition. Loro's right, because you looked at him, Jorginho, Kovacic, even Mason Mount, more experienced players. And I just think this game against Chelsea might be for a bit more experience. In my midfield, I've tried to mix it up a little bit, so there is some youth. But I have gone for a little bit of experience because of the opposition.
Save your full team for the end
Absolutely.
of the show.
Can't wait.
I know, exactly. People are waiting edge of the seat.
Oh, yeah.
Bated breath.
I'm there.
Naby Keita is in a slightly different position. He's not a young kid. He has got experience, but hasn't been regularly involved this season. But as he's shown over the last couple of games that, maybe he is someone who could still have something to offer and could bring some energy to the middle of the park.
I think, he's got undoubted ability. I just think we've had loads of false dawns with him. And we know he can play, and we know he's got, that ability. But for me, he just cannot do it consistently. And then the other problem, and it's not of his making, is he gets injured constantly. And I think that's a real worry. He's played well enough in the last couple of games. I don't know. I wouldn't have him in my team at the moment because I just think he needs to be better.
It was his first start of the season, the game at Wolves. Yeah. He hasn't really been in the picture, but sometimes managers, when they're looking for answers, turn to players perhaps they've previously disregarded to an extent. But he's got something to play for, whether it's a contract here, whether it's a contract elsewhere. So there's a motivation for him to do well if he is given an opportunity.
There should be, but as we're talking now, there's doubt, isn't there? There's doubt in Lotto's voice, there's doubt in your voice, there's doubt in my voice, because he's not done it on a regular basis. Coming into a game like Chelsea, this is a massive game, Mark. This is absolutely huge. So it's important we get a right result. Do you take a chance? And if that's what it is, we're taking a chance on Naby because he had a good game at Wolves in an FA Cup replay. I'm not so sure that puts him in the starting lineup.
He just hasn't shown the consistency. So yeah, they'll be pleased with the way he played the other night. But when you're seriously looking at it, and then it's Chelsea, can you risk him? But then I want Bajcetic anyway. So what do you do?
You're both giving things away from your team now. You're taking all the suspense out of it.
You've got to give him a little bit of a...
True, there's a little bit waiting out there for people later on.
Yeah.
OK, well, it is a big game for both these teams today, but it's also a milestone day for the Liverpool boss. And before we get the lads' thoughts on it, let's hear from the man himself on hitting 1,000 games as a manager.
It's a crazy number, honestly, 1,000. But the beard is now really grey. It was not the case when I arrived here. I'm not sure that's because of the age or because of Liverpool, but it's fine. In the best time of in the time when I probably was full of power and still am, I did the job I loved for the clubs I love. So, absolutely, I'm blessed with that, 100%. That's what I feel.
Of those 1,000 games, over 400 have taken place here, 249 wins so far. Today would be his 250th win in charge of Liverpool. Sum up the impact he's made, Tomo, since he walked through the door here.
Absolutely huge. One of the great things is the fans identify with him. He identifies with the fans. We get each other. And I think he's brought a passion and energy back to the club. These doubters into believers. He has unified the whole club. Other managers have been great. Gerard Houllier, Rafa Benitez, they all brought something. This fella's got something extra. Yeah. And he brought a new dimension to the side, this gegenpressing, which was the first thing that we had. You know, that very first game at Tottenham when he demanded, everybody was running, everybody put in more yards than they'd ever done. He's re-energised our football club, and the things what he has done for us, and these doubters now, have a good look at yourself, because this fella's been wonderful for our football club.
Yeah, he's made a big impact here. He also made a big impact at his previous clubs as well. We should throw up his managerial stats to date for you, just so you can see in full focus what he's done across his various spells elsewhere as well. You can see that win percentage increasing as he's moved through the clubs. And he's made this a winning football club more than anything else, Laura, as well as the fact that the football's been great. There's been some great moments, drama, there's a belief around the place, but he's made us successful again.
He's the most important person in this football club, and I would go to say, you know, even all the players we've signed over the years is by far and away one of our best ever signings, because he's completely revolutionised this club, and everything about him is just good, you know, when he loses it and all those kind of things. He's just a real top manager. We're stood here and we just know you'd love to play for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely 100%. Us two old buffers go, yeah, we'd put our hands up most definitely. And he's got it, hasn't he? Remember that day when we played West Brom here? And I think we got a 2-2. And he took all the players down to the Kop end, and because people were leaving early.
People ridiculed him.
Yeah,
they ridiculed him.
The press ridiculed him.
Because they thought we were celebrating a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
He saw the bigger picture. They did not see the bigger picture.
But what he was saying to the punters were, hold on a minute. If I can't convince you that my team can score in the last few minutes of the game, what's the point? I thought it was a really clever thing to do.
Speaking of scoring in the last few minutes, we've asked both of you to pick out a couple of your favourite moments of his time at the club, and your moment, Tomo, typifies that never say die, never give up spirit. Talk us through what you chose.
See, my one was against Dortmund. in a UEFA Cup game, and I just thought this was the real arrival. We'd beaten Manchester United in the UEFA Cup, but this was Dortmund, his team. The yellow wall, small that it was in the Annie Road end, so it was huge. This game was everything. It said to Jürgen, this is what Liverpool's about. Last minute goals, drama, everything. You can see the passion in him. And there's Lovren, last minute of a game to take us to the next round. We were going out because of the away goals rule. And it was there. And Klopp was gone. The love affair really started from that moment.
It was a special night. I remember walking out of here, the old main stand, and you bumping into ex-players who'd been there since, I think Gary Mack was one of them, and the faces, the old players up there, they couldn't believe it. It was like the old days. It was a real signature moment, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was the goals, everything about it. You can see him there. It was that realisation. Yes, he'd probably heard all the stories. Yes, he'd seen the Manchester United game and he felt it. But this was a proper European night here at Anfield. And he then has gone, this is where I belong.
You picked a slightly different moment to focus on. Talk us through what you picked out, Laura.
Day he signed. Completely changed the whole place. Look at it. Completely changed everything about it. You know, everything we've got here, the training ground, the whole thing, the way he's been backed, the way, you know, if you look at nearly every single player that he's signed, apart from the odd one, he's made them all better. And in many cases, he's made them into world-class footballers. I mean, that's a wow.
What was your expectation when he walked in, though? Obviously, he came with a big reputation. It was one we were excited about. But what did you realistically think he could achieve?
We sort of knew about him, but we didn't know too much about him. I think, as Tomo just said there, he got it. He got it the moment he walked through the door. And everyone, you kind of thought, wow, this is going to be a ride. And it's been a fantastic ride. And just everything about him. I mean, the way he handles players. We've never had at this football club, with all the players that he's signed and players he's left out, we've never had anyone sort of go, you know, slaughter the manager. He's just brilliant with people, brilliant with everybody. You know, the ticket sellers, the guys on the gates, you know, all us lot and everything. He's just brilliant with people, and he can handle and manage people, and that's a massive thing today, because also our era was different, because you could slaughter players, couldn't you, in the dressing room? Absolutely tear you to bits. He probably does it, but he does it in such a better way because he has to. He's got the whole thing.
He certainly does. OK, well, his 1,000th game in management takes place here today. It is Liverpool versus Chelsea. It's worth me pausing for just a second to underline how you can stay across all of the action later today. We'll have free highlights tonight at 5:15, available on LFC TV Go. Then the full match is available from midnight on Go as well. Then Inside Anfield will be available tomorrow on our Facebook and YouTube sites. It is Chelsea today, Tomo. Chelsea have had as difficult a start to the season as we have, pretty much. Not often these two teams would come into the table 9th and 10th, but that's the into the game, sorry, 9th and 10th in the table. That's the reality today. Where are they at now? Are they a team struggling for an identity and a plan at the moment that a lot of players used, a lot of players bought, but there doesn't seem to be a clear pathway at the moment, perhaps?
No, there doesn't, and it has. They've had some upheaval. It has to be said. New owner who's willing to splash the money. Is it a bit of a scattergun effect? I think so. He's buying all these players, and you look at the injuries that they've got. Maybe they need all these players, but trying to integrate. They did it a couple of years ago. I think it was under Frank Lampard when they brought Timo Werner in, and they brought Havertz in, and a couple of more players. They struggled for a while to get them going. How the heck Graham Potter, who's a good coach, who's only just come in, how he gets all this to work, is going to have to be a bit of a magician. So it might take a bit of time for it to happen, and they need it. And some of these lads are all new coming in. So for them to be able to get to know each other, be able to play together, I think it's a tall order. So hopefully we can take advantage of that.
He has had injuries to deal with. Reece James is a really noticeable one. Massive player he's been denied.
They're all the good players that are getting injured.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, the biggest thing for me and all the players that he signed, why hasn't he signed a world-class striker? Because if you don't score goals, you ain't winning games. For all the money, and we know with the fact, you know, they've avoided the financial fair play because of the length of the contracts that they're giving to all these players, but go and buy a striker because they haven't got one. Well, not a regular goal scorer.
Well, is that maybe underlining the issue that it's who is deciding who they're signing? You would think if Graham Potter was involved in those discussions fully, he would probably say we probably need someone to play through the middle for us. At the moment, it's Kai Havertz who kind of plays there, but again, he's not.
He doesn't want to play.
Yeah, he's better perhaps not playing.
Excuse me, he is a 10. I don't know. You'd have to ask whatever the guy. Well, there's two guys in there. There's not just one guy, but Graham Potter would want the best players he could possibly get. Whether he's getting them, nobody knows.
Yeah, some good players in there. Mudryk is rapid. If he features today, he's one to keep an eye on. In terms of our team for today, then you've given away half of it. But Tomo, talk us through your starting 11 for today.
Well, my starting 11, I'm looking at it, and here's a few changes. I've gone for, obviously, Ali in goal, Trent, Ibu Kanate, and I've gone with Joe Gomez. I thought he played really well against Wolves at centre-back, then at right-back, and I think he plays better against bigger teams. I think his focus is better, and I think that's why I've picked him for today. I thought Joel was shaky in the second half against Brighton. So, and Robbo. But my midfield, I've got Harvey Elliott, I've gone for Fabinho, and I've gone for Thiago. I thought Thiago was excellent against Wolves. People will question Fabinho because he's not been good, I grant that, but this is a big game, and he's experienced against experienced opposition. My front three speak for themselves.
Is there any part of Jurgen today you think that will be tempted to keep Harvey further forward?
Well, it could be, because he was further forward against Wolves. He could play that, but I do think we'll have a bit more, hopefully, firepower with Gakpo on the left, and then we go with Darwin down the middle, and we go with Mo on the right. I think that's going to give us some firepower. So I'm getting Harvey just in behind that.
Okay. Laura, your team, talk us through the decisions you made and why.
Well, so I've gone Alisson, Trent, Kanate, I've gone for Matip, and obviously...
You went Stefan Bajcetic in midfield as well.
I've gone for him, yeah. I thought he played so well. I want to stick him in, but I'm sticking him alongside Thiago and Henderson. I presume Henderson's just had a rest, so he'll be up for it. I think you need experience, like Tomo, front three picks itself. I just had a gamble on Bajcetic. I just thought, go on. And I think he's fearless at the moment, so... remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's risen to every challenge thrown in front of him so far, so why not today? OK, gents, we'll pause things just there, let you guys go inside and get warmed up ahead of our other show coming up. Lastly, though, let's just remind you of how things stand on LFC TV through the course of today. Matchday Live is back at 11:25 with all the breaking team news. And then come kick-off, we've got audio commentary of all the action. And Loro is up on the gantry with Steve Hunter from 12:30. Then all three of us will be back down pitchside at 2:30 with the Matchday reaction show. OK, that's all from us for the minute. Before we go, though, we'll leave you with a couple of words from the Standard Chartered Player of the Month for December, Mo Salah.
You are Player of the Month for December. Congratulations. How excited are you to win it again?
Well, it's always good to win it, but last couple of weeks I think we all know that we should do better, and hopefully the result will be better in the next few games. We just need to play our football and just to enjoy the game like we did before, and the result will come.
That cup win over Wolves, I presume that has given the dressing room a lift, and it's a good platform to build on against Chelsea this weekend. Yeah,
hopefully the players were so excited after the game, and we have a really good group. The players all around try to stick together and just lift each other. And I think we have that good vibe in the dressing room, and hopefully that will help us in the next games.